Alright, welcome back. You're still on to Market Pulse on your preferred People's Television. On this segment today, we'll be looking at bond, which is also a capital markets instrument and is also known as a fixed income security. It is a debt instrument created for the purpose of creating wealth. And on this episode today, we have Duniya, who is the Abuja branch head of Lead Securities and Investments. He will be walking us through the differences between the federal government saving bond and the sukuk bond as well. Welcome to Market Pulse, Daniel.
Thank you very much.
Nice to have you on Market Pulse once again.
Thank you very much.
All right, let's start with the federal government saving bond, which was issued on March 2017. Can you tell us about it?
Okay, actually, before now, federal government issue bonds.
Yeah.
And the retail participation was very, very low. And they thought it wise to encourage retail investors to also diversify their portfolio and have bonds as part of their portfolios. Before now, for you to get a federal government bond, you must have as high as 50 million naira in order to buy some unit. Though some other organizations that are operators within the market usually gather investors, pool funds together. They had a limit. Some will tell you 5 million, some 10 million, and then go ahead to purchase this bond in order to encourage participation. But if you look at the Nigerian investor, we have different investors cut across different
sectors,
financial muscle level. So the federal government thought it wise to encourage retail investors by reducing the amount to as low as 5,000 naira. Between 5,000 and 50 million naira, you can buy federal government savings bond. But before now, for you to buy any federal government bond, you must have as high as 50 million. But with this one now, we have two different categories. We have the savings bond
and the federal government
bond. The one that is, yes, you need huge amount capital outlay in order to subscribe for the bond. But in this case, every investor has the this.
So in other words, with a minimum of 5,000 naira, I can be able to purchase bond. The federal government savings bond.
Yes.
Well, now tell me the benefits.
The benefit actually is when you subscribe for bonds, actually you are to be paid interest, and this interest before now, the interest was paid twice in a year. That's semi-annually, 6 months, at the end of 6 months, at the end of 1 year. Okay. But when the federal government savings bond came on board, when it was issued, they actually thought it wise to reward investors more frequent than what used to
than semi-annually.
Okay. They made it quarterly now. Okay. So if you buy the bond every 3 months, you are sure you're getting of interest into your you are sure that interest will be paid into your account for you to do whatever you're supposed to do. Unlike the shares, mostly shares, when you buy shares, dividends are paid annually, except for a few companies that will pay you interim dividend. So the federal government saving bond, they pay more frequently. That's every 3 months. As an investor, you are sure of income in your account, and at maturity, your capital and the last interest for the quarter will be paid to you in lump sum.
Wow, that is great. So in other words, investors can actually participate in this new savings bond.
Every investor is.
Okay, what's the tenure of the bond?
The tenure of the bond, we have the two different tenure. The one issued in March was just 2 years tenure. Okay. The next one that was in April was issued for 2 different tenure. That's 3 years and 2 years, depending on the investor's appetite and investors' willingness to the duration.
Yes.
Every investor wish to hold the shares. So for somebody who is not willing to embark on a project in 2 years, most of them prefer to go for the 3 years bond. Why? Because that has a higher interest compared to the 2 years bond. And so most people tend to move towards the 3 years bond. I prefer the 3 years tenure, because when you have a stream of income coming into your portfolio, you are sure of something you can you are sure of something for your daily operation. Okay. So you can afford to hold on this fund for as long as 3 years. Unlike other people that are just depending on this income, and then whatever will come back to them at the end of the tenure of the bond, they go for 2 years.
I know, as we're speaking at the moment, many are anxious to know the interest rates.
The interest rate, when they started, it was at 12 point something percent, but gradually it has moved towards as at the last one it was 13.5% for the 2 years tenure, and then for the 3 years tenure is as high as 14.5%. It's moving towards 15% now, and trying to bridge the gap between the treasury bill rate and the bond rate. So people are actually showing, indicating interest. Currently, as I'm speaking to you, another one is ongoing now for
Yes,
1 week.
that's where I'm heading to now.
Yes.
This federal government savings bond,
Yes.
is it issued monthly?
It's issued monthly from the beginning, from the first issue, that was in March, up to the moment now. It has been issued every month for investors who may not have gotten the opportunity to invest at the beginning and now have the resources to go to invest in the bond. And you know, one good thing about the bond is that some investors will tell you, what is my stake at the end if I invest in so and so. Before that, investors will approach you, I want to buy a particular share, what's my interest? And you know, it's against the rule to even promise them any year.
Yes.
When you are investing in shares, you are investing in shares are highly risky compared to the other one, but the return can be higher compared to the bond. So most of them, when they request, they want to know what they expect at the end of the month or at the end of the year. What we tend to tell them now is you rather go for bond, because that one you are sure it's fixed.
Yes.
Nobody is going to reduce your interest. Nobody is going to. It's not going to be higher than what you are promised, and it's not going to be lower. So you know what you are in. You can actually plan with whatever income you expect in the future. So that's why it's
This bond we're talking about,
Yes.
can it be used as a collateral?
definitely, it can be used as collateral. But the one that can be used more as a collateral is the recently introduced issued sukuk bond.
Okay, sukuk.
That one is
yeah.
like you are holding an asset, ownership interest in an asset jointly.
Okay.
Federal government is selling part of their asset to you for a particular duration, depending on the amount you invested. And at the end of the project year, you earn income as high as whatever is made from that project.
All right, Daniel, you walk us through the sukuk bond.
Okay.
Because I'm aware it was issued recently
Recently,
by
yes.
the federal government.
Sometime last month.
Last week, Thursday as well,
Yeah.
I saw the Minister of Finance, Kemi Adeosun, issuing the Minister of Works, Power and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, the proceed of the sukuk bond, which is 100 billion naira,
Yes.
which they say is meant for capital projects
Yes,
in the country.
Mm.
So can you walk us through?
Actually, the sukuk bond came about as a result of the ethical nature of investing in the capital market.
Okay.
Before now, this savings bond, we are promised, when it's issued, there's a promise to pay a particular interest every 3 months. But there are some investors in the Nigerian capital market who do not invest in some of these stocks that are not ethically they are not inclined. So what the federal government thought was good was that they actually came on board and they sat down on a round table and decided they were going to issue the sukuk bond for ethical investors, investors who do not invest in securities that will give them interest or dividend. And this project, this sukuk bond was issued and then tied to a specific project. I think from what they came on board with, they said they are going to embark on about 6 road projects
federal roads
to rehabilitate and build federal government road from the 6 geographical zone. So that will not attract any interest at the end of any month or any year. What they intend to do is that at the end of the project, whatever income is generated from the project, that will be paid to the investors that subscribe to this sukuk bond, mainly people who are interested in ethical stocks and ethical securities.
Okay, in other words, no interest.
No interest is paid.
Bond.
No promise.
At the end of the tenure, they will be paying you what you used to invest initially.
The income.
The income.
Whatever income is generated.
Okay.
With the firm belief that the income would outclass whatever expenditure was incurred when building this project.
Tell us about the risks, because I'm worried as well.
The risk is high. The risk is high, and then the return too can be high. You know, in investment, when you have a high potential for return, definitely the risk too will be high. The higher the risk, the higher the return. In this case now, they are tied to specific project.
Okay.
The government has, I'm sure the government has done its due diligence, and they notice that this project will be a viable project. That is why they are encouraging the investors, and even the investment advisors that are actually advising these investors to subscribe to this sukuk bond. They would have done their own analysis and deem it fit that this project will be a viable project. That's why they are encouraging. So the investors are actually banking on whatever this thing analysis that has been carried out
By the federal government.
By the federal government and then investment advisor. Because we had an investment advisor, that's a Lotus Financial Services and then FBN Merchant Bank. So based on their analysis, the investors are confident that at the end of the project, they will get very good income from whatever investment they made.
As an investor,
Yes.
I know my dividend is key.
Yes.
My profits is key.
Yes.
So, the federal government intend using the sukuk bond, the proceed on embarking on federal government roads across the 6 geopolitical zones in the country. How are these roads going to fetch profits?
That is the question some of us ask. Some of the analysts in the market are asking. Are they going to return toll gate to some of these roads? Nobody has answered that question. But the only way the federal government can actually recover the some of the funds from this investment is when they have toll gate, or when they intend to, they maybe man road block in order to collect levies from users of this road. But it's not going to be an easy task for you to man road blocks in order to collect this income. So the best bet is building toll gate, which the Obasanjo administration kicked against, and then everything was demolished, and they left the roads free for everybody to use. But in this case, now that this road are tied to this fund is tied to specific projects, yes. I'm of the firm belief that they will devise a means of either mounting toll gates or what have you, in order to generate income from this road. Except if the government has another source of income that they will use to offset whatever expenditure they've incurred as a result of building this road.
But funny enough, I heard the Minister of Finance, Kemi Adeosun, saying the sukuk bomb is oversubscribed.
It was oversubscribed, actually. Based on the reports we got, it was oversubscribed by about 5%. Because they got about, from the information we got, they got about 105 billion naira. Yes. But normally when you issue securities or you issue any stock, issue stock to the public, whatever you realize, if you are requesting for 100 million, that's what will be issued to you. Whatever excess we have will be paid back to the investors at a specified interest.
Okay.
And so definitely they were going to return the excess, except if they were applied to utilize the excess, which is allowed.
Now, can we say investors are gradually having confidence in the Nigeria capital markets?
Definitely.
Because for a sukuk bond to be oversubscribed,
yes,
it then means a lot of investors have confidence in the Nigeria economy.
Confidence is returning back to the market. Before now, this set of investors that couldn't participate in the federal government savings bond, yes, they've been hearing the good news. You sit in your house and you receive an alert of an interest that is being paid to you as a result of you investing in federal government savings bond. They too, they want to participate. The resources are there. People are looking for investment opportunity to tap into. So this one was a welcome development for those that are not comfortable with federal government savings bond. This one was a welcome development. They were looking for this opportunity that has come and they are grabbing it. So definitely confidence is returning back to the market.
Daniel, I want you to tell me something. What affects the price of bond?
The rate of interest.
The rate of interest.
Yes.
And how can bond be transferred to cash?
Bonds can be transferred to cash. Okay, like every other bond that has been issued in Nigeria of recent, like the federal government savings bond and this sukuk bond, every investor is advised to go and open a CSS account or get an account with a custodian.
Okay.
That account will be credited with whatever bond that has been that you subscribe for, and then you can go to the floor of Nigerian Stock Exchange for the federal government savings bond and trade your bond. You must have earned interest maybe one or twice, and then you decide you need your cash. I've had investors who came on board. Okay, I'm no longer interested in my bond. Sell it. They offer it to the market, and people are willing to take it off from you.
If I'm to trade my bond on the floor of the exchange,
yes,
what's the market value?
The market value is priced based on percentage.
Okay.
So at that point in time, because you've earned interest on an investment, people will price it at a discount depending on how they value the bond. People will value the bond. The forces of demand and supply too will apply. We have more people that are willing to sell up their bond. Then the buyers will want to price it down because they know probably you are desperate to sell. They get a discount, they are earning interest, and at the end of the day, they are earning that sum assured. The client that I bought for actually that sold, he earned interest, and the bond was taken off from him at a discount, and he was willing.
All right, even as we begin to round up on today's episode of Market Pulse, one final word of advice to investors out there when it comes to the savings bond and the sukuk bond, as an expert. Okay,
my advice is try to get for every investor, try to approach an analyst who is qualified, okay, and who knows what is obtainable in the system and who knows what is obtainable in any security that is being issued. Unlike some other people that will just approach you and this thing, you need to confirm, is this person a professional? Does he really know what he's saying, or does he really, the analysis, does it make sense? As an individual too, thumb room to apply. When somebody is advising you, you need to put one and two together, and then make sure you invest in the right classes of asset, and then you can seek for one or two opinion from people instead of depending on one person.
I've been speaking with Duniya. He is the head of Abuja branch, lead securities and investment limited. And as you know, I always bring to you the finest minds you can find in the business world. Gradually, investors' confidence are actually gaining grounds in the Nigeria capital market. A lot of retail investors are participating as well. So what are you waiting for? The federal government service bonds is there. The sukuk bond is there as well. The federal government service bonds help improve your saving culture as well. So I urge each and every one of you out there to kick into the process and participate, and for your profit as well. Daniel, many thanks for having you on the program Market Pulse.
I appreciate
The pleasure is mine. All right, with this, we'll call it a wrap on today's episode of Market Pulse. I remain your host, Gabriel Nese.